Okay. Ready? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And I see, okay, Ayush is there, Sakusalji is there, Pushpaji is there, Avinash. Avinash, I haven't heard from you much. So we're continuing with the class, okay?
Yeah, okay, sure.
And I need to see your document as well. And I have VE, validation engineer here. She's a good friend. So she likes to stay in the dark room as well, and no problem. Okay, so hear this word, good documentation practice, GDP. In this industry, you're going to hear this word a lot. What is GDP? What is good documentation practice? Can anybody tell me? What do you understand by good documentation practice? GDP.
Making sure it's up to standards.
Very good.
Accurately.
What is it?
I said accurately, so accurate.
Uh-huh.
Make sure it's accurate, precise,
Okay.
ethical.
Regulated standard.
Making sure it covers all the area that needs to be covered.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Arjunji, what do you understand by GDP?
The documents, preparation of the documentation, which is recognized by the competent authority of the government authority.
Very good. I like that. See, you're talking smart.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes, very good. Okay, so good documentation practice, GDP and protocol execution. So the protocol you're writing, IQ, OQ, PQ right now, that needs to be executed. Somebody has to execute it. Somebody has to pass and fail it. How they gonna do it? Iswarji, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, continue with the class is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm okay then.
Okay, all right, okay. Sorry, I didn't ask everybody. Somehow I also missed Durgaji because I thought he will vote for go for the class. So
Yeah, I mean, I think I said that in the first slide after Abbas or
okay,
after Krista.
okay, okay. Rosiel, you're here.
Yeah, I'm okay to go ahead with the class.
Okay, okay, all right. So, okay, pay attention, guys. Good documentation practice, protocol execution. And again, it's an interactive class. Feel free to ask me any question you guys have. And, you know, it's you have to understand these things. If you don't understand to its core, you will have issues going forward, even for your interview and for your work as well. So, okay. So today's agenda will be, why is GDP important? What is GDP? Why GDP important? What regulatory agency says? Example of GDP impacting quality. Why they enforce GDP? GDP is a basic training. The moment you're going to join the job, first SOP or first training you have to do in every company GDP, if you know GDP or not, good documentation practice. Then protocol execution, how you're going to execute that protocol. Get ready, get busy, what can possibly go wrong, summary and approval. We're going to discuss about those. Then we're going to talk about questions. And then we're going to check your execution and GDP proficiency. So these are our agenda today. Let's move on. In this training, also you will learn how LCOA. So you might have heard this LCOA, data integrity. It's a new thing. Data integrity is a very hot topic in this industry because people used to manipulate data. And so Congress came up with new data integrity principles, which is ALCOA. And can anybody tell me what is ALCOA means? Just guess.
Legal Council of America or something?
No.
Accuracy and legible.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about C, and O is, I think, original.
Okay, good, good.
A stand for
One of them may be
Attribute.
attributable. Exactly.
That's correct.
Yes.
So that means
yes,
you
C, I
guys
think
come to the
complete.
class, yeah, before. So that is what I check everybody, that before you come to the class, have you seen your class material or not? That's what it says.
Mhm.
And so if you have seen the class material before you coming to the class, you would know a little bit more, but that's fine. So ALCOA, we will talk about ALCOA and how applies to GDP and validation testing. So there is two things is very important to understand when you execute or validation testing. Validation testing is a formal testing, and in that you need to understand ALCOA, which is data integrity, and GDP, good documentation practice. These two things, you have to understand how these two things are applied when you execute. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Ayushi.
In the classroom, we don't have these things. Like, I don't know why. It says only course objective,
Yeah.
but there's nothing. It's blank.
I also don't see.
You don't
That's
see?
class
Okay.
4.
Yeah, but there's agenda and course objective, but there's nothing inside that. So it's empty.
Let me see. You guys are class D, class work, class 4. You have it here.
Yeah, but the inside the slide there's empty on agenda
Oh,
and course objective.
inside the slide, it's empty.
Like it says only agenda and course objective. There's nothing. Yeah, other there is, but not on the agenda and course objective. So
Oh,
just
okay.
asking.
I don't know
The
why
one.
it didn't upload it.
Other things are good, I guess.
Yeah, okay. You have most of it. I don't know
Yeah.
why it didn't upload.
The one like agenda and course objective only. So just curious.
Sure, no problem. Okay. All right, good. Ayushi, that means you're checking. So, okay. So what to do to prepare for protocol execution? So you guys are writing IQ, OQ, PQ. What do you need to prepare for a protocol execution? How you going to execute those? So most of it, remember, when you're going to work, most of the work, first thing you're gonna get is how to write protocol and how to execute protocol. These are the two main things you will be doing, going with 2-3 years of experience in your hand. That's all they will expecting mostly from you guys, that, you know, how to write IQ, PQ, and how to execute, how you're going to test it. This is where you need to focus the most. If you can do these things good, that means you're in the industry, and then, you know, rest you're going to adapt and learn accordingly. Okay. So how to use GDP while executing a protocol, how GDP is used when you execute the protocol. Those things are important. Best practices for creating objective evidence. So remember, whatever you are saying, take a screenshot, take a picture, all those things. How you gonna organize that? How you gonna put it with your execution? Those things also you have to understand today. Then how to address issues that arise during protocol execution. So when you're executing, there will be pass and fail. There will be steps which may not be executable. There will be, you know, issues with protocol. So how are you going to handle those, you know, when you're executing? Executing means testing. You are testing now. Am I right? First, you're writing your protocol, and now you are testing. You're executing. Those means now you are a tester. So all of you are going to write your protocol and execute others' protocol. So if you Ishwarji protocol, Krista will execute. Krista's protocol, Roshan will execute. Something like that. And this is how it works in a real world. So you're not going to execute your own protocol. Mostly you're going to execute others' protocol. So you need to understand how you're going to execute, how you're going to test those. And it will be formal execution. Formal execution means it's in a validation environment. It's not regular testing. It's not regular tester work. It is very, very formal. Everything has to be formal. And that's what you're going to understand. It's a time bound. Everything has to be done properly. Data integrity has to be followed. GDP has to be followed. All those good stuff needs to be followed. So execution is a major part of validation engineer, you know, and if you miss it, you're going to struggle in your work. So that's what we can understand. And then issues comes, how you're going to handle those issues. What is the process of handling those issues? And then how to create attachment that follow GDP. So also you're going to understand today. Any question, concern here? So all of you heard few words. So now you're gonna hear in this industry, which is data integrity, which is ALCOA, GDP, which is good documentation practice, protocol execution, that is like how you're gonna test those protocols. GDP while executing protocol, how you apply GDP when you execute protocol, how you apply data integrity when you execute protocol. Best practices for creating objective evidence, which is your screenshots or picture you're gonna take, all those good stuff. Then how to address issues that arise during protocol execution. That will be your discrepancy or deviation management. So it's a very important part of the course, and you guys have to understand this, each and every word of it. If you're not clear anywhere, don't worry, ask me again. You're not going to sound stupid because, you know, it's very, very new thing for you to understand. So, you know, don't feel kind of, oh, how can I ask this question? Feel free to ask any question. I'm ready to explain you. If you ask me a question, I can explain you in many ways to make you understand. But if you understood it, that's good, good enough for me. Okay. Shall I move ahead?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So there are a few questions, and I'm going to ask you guys, and I'm going to ask you specific to that person, and you tell me answer. So a contemporaneous means occurring in the same period of time. True or false? I'll ask Avinash. Avinash Shrestha,
Yes, sir.
is it true or false? Contemporaneous is a data integrity ALCOA C. And that means occurring in the same period of time. Is it true or false? Just checking, don't be worried. You don't have to know exactly. You're not
Yeah,
sure.
it might be
Okay, no
true.
problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
it might be true.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Okay. Samiksha, do you agree with him? He's
No.
saying probably true. Contemporaneous.
It's true.
Sandesh, do you agree with Samiksha?
I don't know that all this is true.
Anybody think it's false?
It is true due to this word contemporaneous, but obviously this word represent the same period of time. I think it is true.
Very good. Very good.
I prefer to relate this with the contemporary. the person who is contemporary time or contemporary friend or whatever.
Very good.
So it looks like
Contemporaneous means happening in the same time, same
Yeah.
period of time.
contemporary, yeah.
Contemporary, yes.
Yep.
Yes, yes. So
Thank you.
one of the principle of Alcoa, what it says that whatever you are, when you executing, whatever you are writing, it has to be exact same time. It cannot, you cannot come after 3 days and fill up that. Or you cannot fill up in future thing. You have to do it then and there, everything. Okay. Number 2, which of the following will produce indelible blue and black entries? Black gel pen, red ballpoint pen, pencil HB mechanical pencil, blue felt
Indelible.
tip market, E number pencil, none of the above. Resamji, any guess on number 2?
Yeah, so question is which of the following will produce indelible blue or black entries? I will go
Yes.
for A, black
Okay.
gel pen.
Okay. Sonika, do you agree?
I think, yeah, black.
Blue or black?
Blue. It says blue, so I'm not sure. I think it's black. A.
Okay, Rosen.
I think it's A and D. So they can't be removed and they're black and blue. So
What is that flat tip marker? I'm
Okay,
not sure.
Durgaji. You're on mute.
I would say A and D.
Ishwarji,
I would say
Sonisha,
I have no idea, but I also think because there is the blue or black, so maybe A and D.
Girjaji,
I would go with
Indelible.
A and D because they are the pen and the content cannot be erased.
Chaitanya, your turn.
I think it's D, blue felt.
I will say D only.
Sakrusalji, okay.
Yes, D only, sir. It says individual marker, so that means cannot remove. So D only.
Okay. Anybody?
I'll go for F. This will be something unique,
I'll go with F, none of the
Yeah, because
I was about
if
to
I
say
look
that
at the
too.
question, it says black and blue,
Or blue
and all
instead.
those answers have the
Yeah.
blue only.
That's
I think
correct.
none of it has the.
I'll go if do it F.
I
So
think
whoever
before,
says F is the right answer. And the
Yeah.
reason is, so in this industry, understand this, what is one of the GDP or good documentation practice or data integrity principle is you need a permanent writing pen. Gel pen can be removed.
Mm.
You understand? Resamji, gel pen can be erased.
yeah, I didn't know that. That's why I
Yeah.
went with the gel.
Yeah, marker can be erased. So you
Permanent
need,
marker also can be erased.
yes, marker can be erased.
Okay.
It's a marker. Think about it.
So it
It-
needs to be like a legit. ink
Legit ball pen.
pen.
Yeah.
So if there had been like blue
So
or
when you
black
go
ball
to this
pen-
industry, they will give you those pen for execution. Pen like this. First day, they will give you 20 of these pens. Hey, you will be executing these protocols. So take this black or blue pen, but it's not gel pen. It's not marker, tip marker. It is ballpoint pen. It has to create a permanent entry, which can stay for next 20 years, 30 years, and nobody can erase it.
So, sir,
Yes.
for me, the reason I chose F was like, I remember you saying there is no in between if it's either black or white. It has to be definite. So none of the answers above.
That's
has
correct.
both the-
Also, that was very logical. So why didn't you guys pay attention? That is my question. Because it's clearly say in your question, indelible
Yeah.
blue or black entries.
Yeah.
And then your answer is saying black gel pen. It doesn't say even blue and black. So pay attention. It's a very common sense things, but you have to understand. And these questions are there for a reason, to open up your eyes. So, just think that you are going to execute your protocol mostly manually. Some of the company now have automated tool, which is also HPLM and Valgenesis, where you don't have to write with your pen and paper. But still, till today, 96% of the company, you have to execute these protocol manually. When I started, 99.9% of the company, we would execute manually each and every step. We had to go, we have to initial and date, pass and fail with the pen. But it has to be proper pen. Okay. So it has to be a ballpoint pen, but not red. It has to be blue or black. Okay. Blue or black ballpoint pen that stays forever, cannot be erased. Okay. Third question, to correct the year in a date, it is okay to just line out the year like this, 30 Jan 2017. True or false? I'm going to ask Samiksha.
I think it's false. You need to cancel a whole thing and write it down again.
Okay. Roselle, do you agree? We are in question 3.
I'm not sure. I mean, like what
No
is
problem. Hold on. Abhinas,
Sure.
do you agree with Samiksha?
I do, yeah. It's gonna be false.
And why?
So the thing is, the way all the data is raised, like the way that I'm sorry, just the way that they erase the years, it doesn't go through like that. So maybe.
Okay.
So can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So it should be false because it's a legitimate document. So it has to be erased and put
erased.
Put your it has to be cancelled and properly, and put your initials and the cancel date and the new date, the proper date. It should be false.
What do you mean by proper date? You gave me a lot of question in your answer.
Yes, sir. So it should be 30 Jan. You can just go ahead and erase 2017 and write in anything else there. You have to.
We are not erasing there. We are just crossing out.
Cross, yeah, you cannot cross that without putting your date and initials to do that correction.
Avas, what do you think?
It's false. I think the entire statement has to be replaced by a new line.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay. So so remember, these documents are legally binding documents. These documents which you're going to execute it's not a kiddies game. You're not playing, with sand. These documents are representable in court of law. So it's all are handled like, tamasuk in our Nepal. It's a legally binding document. So there is a way to handle those documents. So this is one of the principles of GDP, that if you, by mistake, it was supposed to be 2021 and you, by mistake, you wrote 2017. Now you need to correct it. Am I right? So how are you going to correct it? Just crossing, I mean, it's still 30 January. You just mistakenly put 2017. The year is only wrong. So obviously the question is asking because you have to cross out the whole thing from 30 January 2017. And then you have to, okay, sorry. 2017, and then you have to write 30 January 2021 or whatever date you have. And then you have to initial and date every correction you're going to make. So that's why this is false. Okay.
I have a question. Don't we have to follow the way the date is written in MDY?
We're coming
Or
there.
this is,
We're coming
month?
there. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
We're coming,
okay, okay,
we're
okay.
coming there. Next question. Which of the following date time formats are acceptable?
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 5 March 2018. So
B.
A, B, C, A, and D. So Ravi sir, why don't you tell me what is right answer?
B.
You're saying B?
Yeah, MDY.
Okay. Arjun sir, in regulated industry, what is the acceptable time day format? Day and time format.
B is good, sir.
B means B. Oh, because Ravi sir said so?
No, because
Think.
month, first month and date and year.
C also there is, I don't know what is the difference between 8 and then 1600 there, but the B and C both I see in MDY format, but I don't know what is the difference between the 1600 and 8.
That's why it is there to confuse you. You give me the right answer.
Yeah.
I think PMD will use 24-hour time period, right? 24-hour clock, not the 12-hour clock. So, for example, if you are representing 1 o'clock, it's 13.
Oh, time
1
also. It is
13.
about the time also here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Date and
Okay.
time.
So 5 March. No, B and C.
I guess A will be the right answer.
1600 would also be right 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Yeah, that will be fine.
Okay, who has started talking?
Sorry.
A. I'll go for A.
It should be A in my. It should be.
B has
It's
the
A.
the
I
time
agree
is
with
not doesn't look good on B, and C is not complete on time too.
Okay, Sandesh, yeah.
I'll
Maybe
still go
A.
with B because 1600 represents the afternoon time or the evening time, since they are using the 24-hour clock.
Guys,
No, but the comma. In a C, there is a
use
comma.
some
So
common sense here.
C is much more
You have
practical than
answered
the B.
there.
There's a comma.
A.
Go for A.
It's A.
A, I'll go for A.
To me, it is
We
C.
have
I'll go
answer
for C.
3. The question 3.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
So the answer is there. So the time date format is here. You see, they give you in this question. So use this, and then here you don't have AM and PM in C. So it doesn't make any sense. In here, it's American way of writing, which is month, day, and
MDY.
yeah, MDY. But this is not acceptable in regulated industry. So in regulated industry, A is the acceptable answer.
Dr. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
There has to be a comma. They made a mistake there too. In A, after 2018, there has to be a comma. or 8
Not
p.m.?
necessarily. Not
Oh,
necessarily.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Abasi. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the CFR Title 21. It says it is to start with the year first. The
That would
year
be the
using the
British
4
way.
digit followed by the month and the
That
2
would-
digit followed by the day. I'm just gonna copy paste it here. I'm just looking from the
Yeah,
trial.
yeah.
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 British
Go
way
ahead.
of doing it.
Yeah, I just copy pasted that.
Okay. So here it says, in general, whenever the label of a medical device includes printed expiration date, that is different. That's not your GDP.
Oh, that's not okay.
That's not your GDP. That's good. Good that you paying attention, but that's not your GDP. When you putting something in your label, so label so when you have medicine like this and you putting label expiry date, there is a certain way to put your expiry date. You understand? That's another standard, but that's not your GDP.
All right.
Okay. So GDP is this. You're gonna write it. I mean, still even I would put 05 March 2018. So it's DD MMM YYYY.
And we don't follow the 24 hours like Girija Ji
No,
said,
not
like
the
16, 17.
yeah, not the military time. Yeah, which makes sense, but not in regulated industry. Yeah. Okay. If any entry field box is blank, that means what? The step was not completed. The step was completed, but person forgot to enter. The step was not completed, but person forgot to enter NA and initial and date. Cannot tell exactly what it means. If any entry field in your protocol is empty or blank, what is that means? Iswarji, which answer is right here?
I will go for A.
Okay. Arjunji?
Cannot tell exactly what it means. Number D.
Okay, so you are, for example, you are executing a protocol. For example, here, anything, it's blank. You didn't fill anything here when you executing. Or if you executing, say, your protocol, and here, you leave it empty. You didn't fill anything here and here. What is that means?
No, he said the answer D. That's why I think you explaining. He said the answer cannot tell. There's the answer in D. Cannot tell what is there, right?
You said
Exactly
answer
what,
D?
yeah. Yeah, he said. I mean, Arjun wanted to say answer D, but you explained him. What does it mean?
Okay, anybody else?
To me,
Yeah, you know,
it's
D and yeah, it's
step was
pretty
not
much
completed.
very. Yeah, because I would say, you know, there is kind of a confusing answer because there can be two options, whether A, because the step was not completed, that is one option can be, or another will be D, because two things, other thing we cannot guess, you know, that's there can be two, that could be human error, right? Because human error can be made like, that's number A, or we cannot, you know, we cannot say what happened.
Okay.
A or D.
That's good thinking, Risamji. Anybody, yes, Sonika.
So I'm telling my experience in work. In our work, we have like, we call it Traveler, where we document every step that has been completed. But if someone leave that step blank, we are not supposed to assume it.
Yes.
So that means we really do not know if it has been completed or forgot to sign.
That's
I'll
right.
go for D. That's what happened in my workplace. So
Perfect.
you have to investigate on that.
Good job. So Sonika, Resamji, you guys are right. The answer has to be D. You cannot tell exactly what it means. So it has to be innate or written something there. If you just leave blank, nobody can guess anything. Am I right? So every step you need to fill. If it's not applicable, you have to NA. Or you have to give the reasoning. Put the star there and say why it is NA. Okay. All right. Number 6, attachments to protocol can just be labeled attachment 1, attachment 2, etc. True or false. When you create attachment, you know, in your protocol, and here you see, when you say see attachment, you can say attachment 1, attachment 2, attachment 3. Can you do that if it's true or false? Who wants to answer?
False.
False.
And region?
False.
It has to have
Has to
a
be
number.
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not specific.
I think a number will be assigned to attachment
This is documented evidence.
so that it
Very-
will not duplicate. Yeah.
Very good. So everybody understood that? Arjunji, you understood that? It is
Yes.
false, and the reason is you cannot write attachment 1, attachment 2. It has a naming convention. There is a certain way to give the name of each and every attachment. And that's what I'm going to teach you today, you guys, that how you're going to create the name of each and every attachment, which will relate to each and every steps.
Okay.
Avazi, you saying something? Yeah.
No, I'm just talking to my cousin here. Sorry. I just
Oh,
got to.
okay. I saw you lip sync, so I thought you wanted to say
thank you.
something. No problem. Okay, so the answer is false. Okay. Number 7, the data integrity definition of Alcoa is a brand of foil, actual, labeled, correct, original, attributable, legible, contemporary, original, actual, attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate. What will be the right answer? I'm gonna ask Sonisha.
I think D.
You think?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No,
Can I
I'm not.
lock it?
Okay, you can.
It's $1 million question. So who wants to be a millionaire? You said D. Can I lock it?
If I win, then you are gonna give me million. You are giving me million.
Of course. You're gonna make $1 million if you're right. Anybody?
It's D.
It's D. Okay. So now you understand and remember, Alcoa, which is data integrity, A means attributable, L means legible, C means contemporaneous, O means original, A means accurate. What is this? What is it's talking about? What has to be attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate?
Data.
Okay, speak up. That's what I wanted to hear. Who said it, data?
Me.
Okay. Rosan, yes. So because it's a data integrity, so the principle of data integrity is has to be applicable for the execution and data entry. And these are the things they are looking for in Alcoa. They're going to ask you this question. What is data integrity? What do you understand by data integrity? So data integrity is data needs to be attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate. This is a law. Okay, so we will dig a little deeper into it even again. Okay, so good documentation practices, understand why is good documentation practice is important. Ensure accuracy, traceability, and consistency. Know who completed something and when. Know if things did not need to be completed. Can understand errors and their corrections. Can recreate workflow process test. All these are the reason GDP is important. Somebody gonna ask you this question, why GDP is important? This is question can be asked in your interview. Why good documentation practice is important? If I am your interviewer, I'll ask you. How are you gonna answer? Tell me. Somebody can answer me? What do you understand by why GDP is important?
Because if
Go ahead.
Because we are into a heavily regulated industry.
Very good.
Where everything has to be documented and properly documented, not only documented, but properly documented.
That's correct.
So that is why we have to make sure everything we write there is correct and in compliance with all federal or state laws.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's my understanding.
Yes, yes, very good, very good. Anybody else wants to add anything, say it in a different way?
Add something.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it helps to track changes, improve in process flow, continuous process flow, and to report any defects.
Very good. Are you guys understanding what is GDP first?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good documentation practice. So what we do, why we do good documentation practice? So your protocol, when you're going to execute this, right now it's not executed. So once you fill these, somebody has to go and execute and fill up the data, pass and fail, attachment number, initial and date. All these things needs to be done. So we need to follow GDP principles, GDP and data integrity. That's a law. It's a federal law. And we have to follow that word by word. And why we have to follow? Because it ensures accuracy, traceability, and consistency. Know who completed something and when. That's why you need your initial and date and time. Know if things did not need to be completed.
Yes.
That means you have to NA there and initial and date there. Can understand errors and their corrections. You can do corrections, but you have to explain that why did you do corrections? And so you have to explain that. Can recreate workflow, process, or test from that GDP. So all these things are important, and these things you have to understand very clearly. Why? What regulatory agency says? FDA says execution of functions documented at the time of performance. 21 CFR Part 211-100. Permit objective pass-fail decisions to be reached. Guidance on software validation. This is a federal law. 21 CFR Code of Federal Regulation 211.100. That's why we do that. European Union says ensure the accuracy, integrity, availability, and legibility. It's EU DRALEX Annex 4, Chapter 4. This is EU law. So that's why we follow these things. We don't do it just because of the choice. We have to do it. We have to understand these things. Okay. Any question, any concern? Okay. So now there is ALCOA and then ALCOA plus. Some company, most of the company follow ALCOA, ALCOA, but then some company also follow CCEA for data integrity. So CCEA add up complete, consistent, enduring, available. And ALCOA is attributable to person generating the data, legible, traceable, and permanent, contemporaneous, original record or true copy, accurate, complete, consistent, enduring, available. How do you connect these things to your data? Do you understand that? And why this is important? What is attributable? Means who executed it. It has to be a person. It cannot be, yeah, it cannot be a robot. Somebody has to take responsibility.
Yeah,
somebody has to do initial and date. These are the law, federal law, and we follow that. So when you execute these, it has to be recorded that way. So attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, complete, consistent, enduring, available. These are the principles. Remember it word by word and understand it. We'll go dig deeper into data integrity in a different class. Again, that's advanced class. You may not need to go in that much depth being a validation engineer, but if you are interested, I will put something for your information, for your FYI, so you guys can read and understand. If you become lead, you need to understand in its depth. But as a validation engineer, all you need to understand is what is ALCOA and how to follow these principles. Okay. Example of GDP impacting quality. Contemporaneous did not complete immediately after performing. Failure to record activities at the time they are performed and destruction of raw data. So people used to do that, you know, they executed and then fill up after 3 days. They manipulate the data. So they came up with federal regulations and you cannot do it anymore. If they catch you, it's against the law. You are held accountable and you can go to jail for that. That's why validation engineer is a responsible job. That's why they pay you more than other engineers, but you have to take responsibility. Understand that.
So when you start it, you have to finish it. You can't just come back. Like
No, you can finish. No, like you started one step, finish that step.
You have to
Second
finish
step, yeah, second step, you may come back and do it. You don't have to finish all your protocol at one time.
But once you
whenever
finish one
you
day,
finish, record it then and there.
okay.
If I am a good auditor, I will catch you. Seriously. I know how people manipulate. One time I was in Vietnam and I caught that they have manipulated the data. So I was auditing their lab. They told me, and then the girl came to me and told me, sir, you don't know how hard it took me to come up with this result so I can pass this. I said, how hard it took? Oh, I have to go and create different permutation combination to make it pass. I said, but why? Oh, because my supervisor told me you must pass. You cannot fail it. And you know what I did? I reported it to FDA that these guys are manipulating the data. You have to do it. So it's a very serious business and you cannot do it. So these principles are very, very important. You have to follow each and every principles when you execute, and it is made for some reason. Understood? Any question, any doubt you guys have, anything you don't understand?
I just have a question with the ALCOA and ALCOA Plus. So you said the ALCOA is actually the FTA regulation practice, right?
That's correct.
So is that the industry can choose if they want to follow the ALCOA or ALCOA plus, or it depends upon the industry where you are at?
So companies can choose whether they're going to follow ALCOA or ALCOA plus. ALCOA and ALCOA plus, they have choice, but they cannot choose neither one. They have to choose at least ALCOA minimum. And some company like to have robust, to follow it word by word. So they add up ALCOA plus. So that means that company reputation, FDA see that these guys are, paying attention to these things. That means they have less audit. I know they are less doubted, but that is something that ALCOA plus, but not every company follow ALCOA plus. Most of the company in their SOP, they follow ALCOA. Good question, Avasi. Yeah. The master of production records to capture critical manufacturing data, your employee then completed and backdated batch production records days after operation ended. That's not allowed. You cannot backdate or future date anything. And if you do this, your auditor may catch you. And once they catch you, you're done. It's a very serious business. People can die. So that's why validation engineer have to understand these things. Even if your CEO comes and tell you, hey, can you backdate it? Can you pass this step? You say, can you give me in writing? That's all you have to say. That's why validation engineers are not forced. They are not manipulated. You have the power in your company. Validation engineer is given respect by your even CEO. You're not just a regular tester. You carry the law in your hands. But better you understand these first. Understand the laws. What is the laws? Okay. So where GDP used? So you see everywhere you enter the data, you have to use GDP, good documentation practice. Group training form, training quizzes, maintenance form, code review forms, deviation, kappa, change includes, attachment, PR, title description, page X of a printed name, wet signature, initial date, everywhere you see, you have to follow GDP. What kind of GDP you see here? If there is a 2-line miss, nothing, you have to cross it and put NA, initial and date. So nobody can come and manipulate these sheets later. Even your supervisor, your manager, your CEO, company's big gun wants to manipulate this script. They're not allowed to do that. So how are you going to close this out? Okay, this many people, this is your, this many people, it's a signature log. This many people only executed this. So that many people have to initial, sign, initial and date, everything has to be done in a proper way. You see, when you see this protocol, why you think every step you have initial and date? Why they want every step your initial? Every step. Think about it. This is how serious this business is. Every step you're going to pass and fail, they want your initial and date. They want objective evidence. They want you to say whether it pass and fail. And that means you have to take responsibility for this. You are held accountable in court of law. You will be pulled in court if something goes wrong. Because if somebody dies in America and they've been sued, you know how much money they've been sued for? The whole team of lawyers comes and sue for 50 million, 100 million. One person's life can be sued for $100 million. The whole team of people comes there. So then what they do? the company. They're going to call you, hey, you executed this protocol. Now you have to go to the court. You have to say, you have to answer that I did it right. I don't know why it failed, because they're going to do root cause analysis. Where did they do mistakes? What is my process? Did I follow everything or not in order to produce my medicine? And if you did something or they manipulated, they're going to catch it in court of law. They're going to do investigation. They have a lot of forensic teams. So if somebody copied your initial and date or forged, they will get caught. That's why you're not supposed to leave anything blank. Every steps you have to fill, pass and fail, initial and date. If it fail, you have to write fail. You cannot make it pass. It happened in Ranbaxy. Sorry, Chaitanya. It's an Indian company, Ranbaxy in New Delhi.
Okay, no problem.
They forced everything. And they got caught. And they got banned. They cannot supply their medicine anymore in the United States. So things can happen, and it happens in, especially in South Asia country, a lot of places it happens. Even it happens in Nepal. One of my friend is in Gunastar Vibhag, and he say, oh, I go to Biratnagar, I stay in hotel, I get paid and I come back. You don't even bother to go and check each and every thing, you know, in the office. So in South Asia, everywhere it's common. They get bribed, but here you cannot do that. Okay, and that is very important. So
Sir.
yes.
So if there are like 4 or 5 people doing the IQ, then each and every one has to write their initials in every box?
Not every box, the box you executed.
Oh, okay.
The step you executed, you sign it. If somebody else doing second step, they will sign the second step. Whatever step you do, you sign it, initial and date. You take responsibility of those.
So 2 or 3 people cannot work in the same steps?
You can, but then you have, all 3 people has to sign.
Oh,
you
okay.
have to give that explanation. That, you know, this step was executed by 3 people. So then you have to merge it. You have to put 3 different, you know, objective evidence. Chaitanya, I was doing with one of the protocol, Srini executed, and that's what we were doing. We're compiling 3 executors, same steps execution.
Yeah,
and
these documents every day I see at home.
Yes, so this is what it happens, and these are very serious business. So you have to do it right way. Okay. All right. So also you see, these are the things which where you use it. You know, you cannot leave it blank. You have to NA it here. If it's here, you have to give region, you have to initial date. All these places you see the GDP, good documentation practice, and data integrity has to be applied. Everywhere you see filled and, you know, initial date, you see, this is how it's done. Okay, this is how the executions are done. Make sense? Okay, same here. You see, if it's a report, you have to initial and date, Wonder Woman, your date here. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
It might be a stupid question. How the date is written, the one you said initially, the date should be in DDMMYY, right? Oh, this is in DDO, sorry. My fault.
DDMMYYYY.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
See that? Yeah. And Abbas, please don't use that word. I hate that word. We are not stupid. So never say it's a stupid question. You know, don't use negative word for yourself ever. Always use positive word for yourself. It's never stupid question. We are not stupid. We are smartest people on earth. We are intelligent people. So there's no question is a stupid question. That negative thought process is gonna put you down. Always stay in positive frame of mind. It is a good question you asked. Not everybody is paying attention. You are paying attention. So I don't like that. It's a mantra. You have to understand, if you want to succeed in this life, never put yourself down. Never think you are stupid. Yes, there are things which you don't understand yet, but you can learn. So have that attitude always. Okay. You may not know everything. I don't know everything. I've been working in this industry for 20 years. Do I know everything? No. Maybe I'll learn something from you tomorrow. Seriously. I learn from my students as well. But that doesn't make me stupid. No. There are things which I don't know yet. I will learn and I'll get there. So, yeah, everybody, that's a mantra. Don't put yourself down. You are all smartest people on earth. That's why you are here. And you're going to be 3% of the world population when you start making 6-figure. So you're going to be there. Think about 3% of the world population. What are you talking about? You know, millions and millions of people wants to be there where you at and where you want to be or where you're going to be. So how can you think that way? You know, so have some, you know, mercy on yourself. Give some respect to yourself first. Okay, respect yourself. That's very important. Okay, so protocol execution, GDP in action. Let's move in. Get ready, execute a protocol. So read the directions and complete any training. Read the test script, preparation, sign signature log, complete test preparation, setup TEP, which you are writing. So remember, now when you're going to execute this protocol, you know, remember when you were writing, I told you don't be worried about these black fonts. You don't need to do any changes. But when you're going to execute, read each and every line first. Understand what you are trying to do here. What is execution? You wrote the protocol, now you're going to execute this protocol. So first read through this whole protocol 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Understand your protocol. Don't rush. That's why even in your company, nobody gonna push you, hey, finish it in 2 hours, finish it in 4 hours. Validation engineers cannot be micromanaged. Cannot. That's the power validation engineer have. You have to read this protocol 3 times, 4 times. You have to get, you know, you have to get trained for that system, like for label printer. I'm working as a validation lead. You know, sometimes I finish review 3 in 1 day, and sometimes 2 days I don't do anything. It's not because I don't want to do and I'm getting paid, because I want to think about it. I want to take my time. I want to understand what I'm doing. As a validation engineer, you have that power. Always use that. Don't rush. Don't try to impress your manager. Oh, he said it, I have to finish it in 2 hours. Say, no, I cannot. I have to do things right. So read through this protocol. Understand your protocol, what you are doing. Understand where you're going to put your initial and date for some region. Every step you're going to put your initial and date. That means you're cutting your hands. So understand why you are saying yes, pass and fail. So that's the power you have as a validation engineer. So recognize that and understand and then execute. So read through this whole thing, read the script 2 times, 3 times, read the direction, complete any training which is required. Preparation, sign in signature log, very important. If your signature log is not signed before you execute, this is a breach of data integrity. When I will review your document, I'll catch you that, hey, how come your protocol is executed and then you signed your signature log? Signature log has to be signed first before you start your execution. So those things, that's where the data integrity and good documentation practice comes into the picture. So pay attention to those things. Understand what you are doing. That is most important part. If you're not, then ask me. I'll explain you again. Understand complete test preparation setup. Right now you're writing TEP. Remember test preparation setup section in your protocol. First, prepare those before you go and start executing. No, hold on. First, read through all your TEP. What are the TEP? What is your test execution preparation? Prepare those before you go and execute. Don't rush into these things. So that's why a validation engineer is not a creepy guy who is just running around. Validation engineer is paying attention to minute detail. They are holding, reading through it, understanding it. That's what you're going to become. That's who validation engineer is. So pay attention to those things. So sign the signature log, then complete the test preparation setup. Okay. So in your protocol direction, general instruction, validation protocol, test script execution, read through all these things. Okay. Read through everything. Understand your protocol, full protocol before you go and execute. Get familiar with. They're going to say, hey, can you execute this protocol? You said, yes, I will, but let me read through it today. I will have some question. I'll check with whosoever authored these first. I need to understand this whole protocol before I can go and execute. I need to get trained in SOP. I need to get trained in the system, whatever system it is. Then I can go and execute. Just don't go and execute. Understand? Otherwise, you're going to do many mistakes. And then you have to be responsible because you're writing initial end date. Your initial end date is going to be there. Even your manager is going to push him back. Nobody can push you in this role, because validation engineer role is very, very important role. You will see when you get there, you will get some respect. Better than admin, Chaitanya. Because validation engineer have power to pass and fail and all these things. So, okay, guys. Now pay attention, protocol execution methodology. Pay attention to each and every word. Each test script is executed and reviewed by individuals who have been appropriately trained in the roles listed in a script prerequisite. It is listed in your prerequisite and records whether the results are as expected. The tester sign and dates on the performed by line at the end of the test. Also, in the end of the test, you see, you have to sign and date as well. For each test, the reviewer verifies that all steps have been performed properly. Results are recorded accurately and completely. So whatever data, you have to pay attention. You are detail oriented. You are a validation engineer. You don't miss anything. You put all the data accurately and completely. Pay attention. This is who you are. A validation engineer is paying attention to each and every minute detail. These are not, again, sand games. These are legally binding work you are doing. So pay attention to that. That's what adds up value to your role. But you have to understand what you are doing. Okay, that all noted discrepancies are resolved. There are discrepancies, which we're going to talk in next class. What is discrepancy? But there will be discrepancy, means failure. There means it's not as expected. That means you cannot execute as is. So the person who wrote the protocol have written it wrong, or system is not working as it was written. So all those discrepancy management comes into the picture. And that's what we can understand and read and go through next class. When the review is completed, the reviewer signs and dates on reviewed by line. Everything, everybody have to sign and date. Everybody have to take responsibility, even reviewer and approvers. Everybody caught by law. Nobody is out of law here. Everybody has to take responsibility. That's why it's done in a proper manner, because, you know, no more than one people can be manipulated at a time. That's why Code of Federal Regulation or federal law enforces those things. Okay, so you're doing things by law. Understood, Krista? Crystal clear?
Crystal clear.
All right. Okay. The script execution preparation training. The tester is familiar with basic functionality of the system and has documented training on the use of the systems. Before you go and execute any protocol, you need to be trained in that system. The admin, the company has to train you in that system. They cannot expect you to be trained. Even if you are trained, they still have to train you and get the signature that you were given training in order to execute this. Because tomorrow you say, hey, I executed, but I was not trained in court of law. Then they will be held accountable. That you need to train these people before they can go and execute. You understand how these things work? Am I
Yeah,
right?
I have a quick question regarding
Go
this
ahead.
line.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is many times it's repeated. Individuals, has to be trained within their role, and how strictly they follow company. And
The company has
I
to
heard
follow
some.
that strictly, but pay attention what happens. So corporate is smart. Of course, they are for profit. Corporate is not going for loss. So that's when they say, hey, I have this system to validate. For example, I have LMS, learning management system, to execute. Now they're looking for the people who know already learning management system, so they don't have to train them like A to Z. They will still train you, but they don't have to train you like, from basics. So they try to find people, hey, find me the people who already worked in learning management system. That's why you see in the market, they're coming for, oh, have you worked in learning management system? Have you validated learning management system? So they will have easy to train you, but they must train you regardless you have worked in that system. And you must get trained, and you have to sign that before you can go and execute. It's a law.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
go ahead.
I understand. Yeah. Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Okay, so especially for example, just I can assume that let's say in our group where learning, we're gonna learn something by doing ourselves. That we haven't done anything in a real world. I think this training will be really gonna play the vital role. I mean, it's gonna be milestone in our situation, because maybe people who are working already like few years or long year, many years. For them, maybe might not be, it's not a big role, not gonna play a big role. But for us, we haven't, touched even printer. How does it gonna work? We can just assume that one, right? So I think this training will be really, gonna be great for us. That's what I'm thinking. So that's why I'm just, like focusing on training part, because if it is really mandatory, then the company has to give the training. It will be really a great role for us. That's why I'm a little bit
Totally.
curious about the training part.
Totally. And they have to train you by law. It's a law, but but they try to find person who who already trained, so they have easy to train them. Okay.
Yeah, I understand, but maybe after 2 or 3 years, once we join the company,
yes,
maybe this training will not important for us. But now, the person who have never worked, kind of, we haven't seen the pharmaceutical industry inside, how the corporation, corporate world works, all that. and without training, straight away to the work. I understand it's a teamwork kind of, they will help each other, but still training will be really, great for us, I think. In our situation, I'm talking, maybe after 2-3 years, maybe it's not that important, but right now, I believe it's a really important part of our, career.
That's what we are doing. Okay. So, yeah. So as Reed understood, the applicable tool, procedures, if any, and then, you have to be trained in SOP as well, all those things. Validation protocol, test script execution, again, protocol issuance. So you cannot go and copy and while you are doing execution. If you do mistakes, you have to correct it in that one. You cannot go and make copies, too many copies. It's restricted by law. So you will be given one copy, issued one copy only. And you have to execute it in that one. If you do mistakes, you have to correct it in that one. You cannot go and change the page. You cannot go and print again.
You have to draw a line through it and initial and date it, right?
Exactly.
So no
these
matter what.
are the law. Yeah, these are
Did-
the law in execution.
You told us one time there was a lady, I think it was in the last class she shared it with us, that there was a lady that was, the auditor had came around and she
Yeah.
found her where she had thrown a piece of paper away in the trash
Yeah.
can and she got blacklisted.
I know,
Right?
right
That's
away she was
crazy.
fired. So you cannot go and copy and make it another page. That is the only page you have to execute. So that's what I will explain you when you guys sending your executed for execution your protocol to each other. You have to PDF that, and they can print just one copy and execute those. Those things I'm going to explain you guys each and everything. These minute details you have to understand of validation engineering. It's very, very important things. Otherwise, you will look like you have never worked in this environment. You don't know what you are doing. So those things are very important. Okay. This document is assurance ID is retained. So when you see this, you saw that first page, okay? That means this document, see, this is issuance of protocol for execution. So this is where it will be stamped and filled. Issued to whom? Issued date, issued by signature. Everything has to be done properly. These are, again, very, very serious thing. So you have to understand how these things works in the real world. Okay. It's no big deal. It's one time. Once you know forever. But first time you have to understand how these things work. So that document has to be issued. Discrepancy management, we're going to study about this in the next class. But if test step need to be re-executed, obtain a new copy of protocol from the document coordinator, the date printed on the new copy needs to be on or after the reported date of discrepancy. You understand what it is means. So, data integrity and GDP, everything has to be followed. If you need to re-execute because of the discrepancy, they're gonna give you another copy which will be dated after the discrepancy founding date. Is that clear? Okay. Documentation practice, for those steps that require screenshots, printouts, the tester can clearly circle, indicate, specify where the information being verified is located to add the review. Label each attachment by including the elements described below. Test scripts. When observed results do not match expected results, the tester records no in the except yes and no column and record his and her initial and current date in initial and date column. Additionally, the tester may add a comment in observed result column to explain why results do not match. Okay. As well as the related discrepancy number, if applicable. So we will study about discrepancy next week, how this discrepancy is handled. At the end of the corresponding test script, the tester must add reference to the test step number when recording comments as well as related to discrepancy number, if applicable, the comments observation section. So it's a very important, because in one page only, you might have more than one steps. When you write some comments, which steps you're writing comments for? You have to explain exactly that, okay, this is for a step 2, not for a step 1, not for a step 3. So you can write also comment here. If there is no enough space, you can put a star here and write the comments here. But you have to explain which step you're writing comment for. If you don't have enough space, you can write comments here. If you don't have enough space, you can write comments here. But you have to make a star and say, I'm writing comments for step 2. Understood? Okay.
Can you repeat one more time? The star.
Yeah. So if you need to write something, some comments. So if you're writing some comments, something failed, not as expected. So, you need to write a comment. You're going to put it here, not as expected. You go and check box this. So this is checked. Now you say not as expected. Now there are a few things you have to do. So pass and fail, initial and date. So pass and fail, then you have to check this one as well and check no. So it didn't pass. Now you have to give attachment. What didn't pass? You have to give proof. So you have to put attachment number here, initial and date. And in some cases, you need to explain why you think it didn't pass. So if you cannot put everything information here, then you can write it down here. You put a star there and put it here. Okay. So like 1 star here, and then 1 star here, and then explain it there. Or if you're not enough space, then you can put it here, then or in here. That's what I meant.
Can't we just put an attachment on a separate document?
Yeah, that can be also done. Yeah. So that will be discrepancy form where you have to fill everything in detail. That's what we're going to talk in the next class, how this discrepancy thing works. Okay.
Can we take a 10-minute break?
Yes, it's about time.
Sorry.
Yes, Krista,
Thank you
no
so
problem.
much.
Yes, I was coming there. Let's
Thank
take 10
you.
minutes break, guys. Let's regroup, refresh yourself. Roselle, I want you to smile, feel good, girl. Come on. Life is beautiful. With all the challenges. Yes. Challenges makes you grow. Nothing to be worried.
Right.
Right? Okay. It used to say that if everything is smooth, doubt it. If nothing is right, you are on the right path. That means you must grow. Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Okay. All right. Catch you in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Communication चाहिए Ini halnya ini certificate. Dia punya ahli lah university orang. Belum penjelasan.
टेन्सन हामी चाहिँ त्यो हाम्रो चाहिँ 10 तिर मागे आउनु 10 तिर यो चाहिँ ठिकै छ नि ठिकै सुनिरहेको छ जे छ आन्सर दिएको कुराहरू भनेको कुराहरू चाहिँ अगर बेटा म मैले अहिले भनिसकेको नआउन सक्छु भनेर त्यो कामले गर्नुपर्ने हो कहाँ हिँड्नु पायो अक्टोबर 2 क्लास छ बाबु चिकन ल्याए बाबुले चिकन ल्याएको
हेलो हजुर घरमै नमस्कार अब एजुकेसन में बोल रहा हूँ नमस्कार नमस्कार होइन आज त म आमा सक्दिनँ मम्मा दिदी यस्तो व्यक्ति मेरो भोलि बिहानै हिँड्नुपर्छ कहाँ के काम यस्तो ए
All right, Krista, you're true to your word. You returned it exactly in 9 minutes.
Accurately. I have to be accurate.
Mhm. All right. So how are you guys feeling so far? Is it too difficult to understand GDP and data integrity and protocol execution?
I don't think so. I think it's, I mean, if you understand the documents and the importance of the documents, you understand the steps. So it's given with all the steps. And if you read the document and go through it, and if you're, you know, if you're executing it, you have to go through each step, and it makes sense to initial date, you know, especially if this is something that, like you said, if it could be brought up in court, they're going to want to know. It's just like if you had to have evidence for something, you want to know who approved that, who said this, who said that. It makes sense to me.
Very smart. You're learning, girl.
Thank you, sir. I'm trying.
Yes. Anybody else wants to share anything? Any thought? Any joke?
How are you, Rosie? I didn't get to say hey to you earlier.
I know, I felt she was kind of little down today, so I'm just trying to encourage her.
Well, she had been sick. You feel better now, huh?
I know. So
Oh yeah. I'm good. Thanks.
Good.
Thank
I was
you.
worried about you. I was telling Hira and Avi, I was like,
I
have y'all
know, I
talked to
couldn't
her?
I know.
I was like, does somebody need to go get her and take her to the
I know
hospital?
even Sakus ji was also little sick for last 2 weeks. Sakus ji, how are you feeling now?
I'm good, sir. Well, okay, fine.
Very good, very good. Touch wood. Yeah. Pushpa sir, maybe you have to say some joke, because it seems like nobody know how to crack a joke.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
So with this, like, you know, especially with the pharmaceutical companies, like, you know, everybody, since we keep on saying that this is a heavy regulated industry and everything else. So I'm like, this might not be the relevant with the class, but you know what's going on with the Theranos, right? The Elizabeth Holmes case. Theranos. So for that industry, or some like for specific, like for the company, they don't have to show their, like, you know, the validation, or they don't get validated, or like by the FDA, like every year, annually, semi-annually.
So see, the problem is FDA cannot reach out to every company every year. So what they do is, first they are waiting for some whistleblower. They have some schedule. And then they are waiting. So what they do is they look at their budget, how much money they are spending in validation. And that's why some of the company I told you, they will pay you as a validation engineer, even if they don't give you the work. Because they have to spend some money to avoid FDA audit. But eventually every company gets audited. Some company takes few years to get audited. Some company gets audited every year.
Yeah, so the audit is not like annual. It has to be audited every year. There's no requirement for that then.
No, there's no requirement. There's no requirement for that. FDA put their own schedule. They pick and choose the company whom they wants to audit. But regardless, you and they can sometimes they can come on your doorstep without even letting you know. They can just knock your door and start looking at your things. How you
Kind of like
doing?
taxes.
Yes,
Okay.
things like a taxes. So every company has to stay alert and be ready for inspection or for audit anytime. But regardless, most of the company have culture to avoid any findings to the FDA auditor. They have their own internal auditors. So they keep on practicing that, if the real auditor comes, what are the things they're going to look for, where they needs to improve. So you have company like Gilead, like Genentech, like Bayer, they have their internal auditors coming every 3 to 5 months, 6 months. So regardless, you have to be prepared. Whether, regular like FDA comes or not, they have to stay on top of it. So those things are part of it. Does it make sense, Abazi?
Just for my knowledge. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing to do with the
of
course, but
course,
yeah.
of course. And as you're gonna grow in this industry, you're gonna understand how these 483 things work, how these things are working. And the best part is when FDA gives consent decree, it's a feast for validation engineers. They're going to look for you, those company, because they have to pay heavy money and they are time bound. Within 1 year, they have to complete everything. So they're looking for the validation engineer. They're ready to pay any money and any hours. When Terumo was in consent decree, they were paying $140, $150 per hour plus expenses, and you were allowed to work 70 hours per week. Think about the money you could make. And after 40 hours is 1.5 time. So FDA is our friends. They make us, some of my colleagues, they were making seriously 45,000, 50,000 per month paycheck.
Exactly.
Paycheck, $50,000. That kind of serious money you have in this industry, seriously. But you have to know your stuff. That's what you are getting into. But wait, and FDA is our friends. And now they goes all around the world. Not only in US, they goes to Mexico, they goes to Canada, they goes to wherever people are making medicines and parts of the devices and supplying to US. Every company can be audited by FDA, and they don't give mercy. They are strict. So no company wants to get caught by it. Any other thought? Why everybody looks a little serious?
I'm thinking, what do I do with all that money?
You will find a way to spend it. One of the girl, Esma Kharka, she just finished her bachelor's. She was a young girl, and she came to me. She studied validation engineer. All of a sudden, she found a job, 110K. And she came to my home, sir, what I'm going to do with this much money? I never thought of it. I said, girl, you're going to find a way to spend it. Don't be worried. Now she lives in San Diego, work from home. She bought a nice, apartment looking at the ocean. Now she says, sir, you also teach me how to spend the money. So you will learn how to spend the money when you learn. Awesome. But there is a money in this industry, a lot of money. You just need this skill set. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to light up the mood.
Yeah, that was good.
No, I was talking to my friends. I had like a lunch, and I was saying like, My teacher, he actually he bought like a cruise, like a ship, like, last time you told me. So I was telling maybe like one day we'll buy a boat and we'll go to Lake Tahoe.
Why not? Why not? As a validation engineer, you're going to make money. I'm telling you, all of you going to make money. Just get into it. This is the skill set going to pay you a lot of money. Especially, you'll be surprised. Validation engineers making more than a doctor can make, because it's compliance work. If they are calling, one of my colleagues, he was telling me to go. She's in Ireland right now. You know how much money she's making? $325 per hour plus all the expenses, business class, a suite, Marriott suite to stay, car rental, and she's charging $325 per hour.
Well, she is working for a US company that she was transferred to there, or she's working for the Irish company itself?
She's just an independent contractor of validation.
No, this is for the US company.
Yeah, no, any company in the world, they will offer you money because FDA regulations, FDA way to do validation.
Okay.
Because they need to do business in America. If they need to do business in America, they have to follow FDA regulations word by word. They have to give the proof that we are following your regulations, each and every code of federal regulation you have. So how are you going to create that proof? So those company has to validate this whole thing in order to satisfy FDA, so they can supply those things into US market. You understand how it works?
So good evening, Dhruv sir.
Yes, Professor.
I heard that you were looking for me, but I was in break. I just went back.
Oh no, I mean, everybody is serious. I wanted a nice joke. So I was looking for you. Maybe you can crack
right
one.
now. I do have a jokes, but in Nepali, but I don't think Krista doesn't understand.
Oh, she laugh anyway, without understanding.
I'll laugh anyways. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand gestures. So.
So you guys want to listen now or after the class?
Yeah. Bhanus na ekchoti euta bhandinus.
Okay. Okay, let me tell you in English and in Nepali also mixed up. Okay. So Krista can also understand a little bit. So
yeah.
So two guys I met, they came from the Nepal at the airport. And I introduced myself and they said like, my name is Phalana. I mean, my name is Puspa. I introduced them. I said, where you guys live? They said, where you guys staying? I actually asked them and they said, we are living in San Jose. You know San Jose? Like J, right? Everybody know that, right? San J, you start from J. So San Jose. And I told them, hey, don't say J. J is like Spanish word that's called like ha. So San Jose. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So J is ha, right? In America? Yes. So he said San Jose. And then I asked them, so when you guys going back to Nepal? So they said Hunulai. You know, Hunulai, like J is Hunulai, but it's June, July. They said Hunulai. And I said, no, it's the English word. That's the J is the J. One Spanish is the ha. They said, oh, really? I'm sorry about that. And then I asked them, I told them, where are you guys from Nepal? They said, Haulakhel. It's Zaulakhel. That's it.
And ultimately they ended up in Japan.
Yeah, they're gonna call Japan a Japan.
Ended up in Japan.
Because J is silent. That's right.
So
Very
nice to
good
see you
joke,
guys,
Puspa
everyone.
sir. Yeah, thank you.
I'm in mute and then.
Puspa, it was a nice hook.
Namaskar, Ravidai.
Namaskar, Puspa. It was a nice hook.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. Nice hook. Thank you, Puspa sir.
Sure. Go ahead, Dhruv sir.
Okay, guys. So yeah, now pay attention again. Complete any associated training first thing. Then you have to sign, this training, type of training, which training you completed. And, there has to be, signature, all these user ID, everything has to be signed and dated before you can go and execute. Okay. This is how it works in this industry and you have to follow. Same thing when you start executing, then, read the test script, what it says, what is the test execution preparation says, what is the acceptance criteria says. If you don't understand, talk to your author, talk to your admin. First, understand the script before you can go and execute it. Right now, you're learning how to execute. So, first you have to understand. If you have any verbiage which you don't get it, if you have any sentence which you're not understanding, first understand before you can go and execute. And you pay attention, there are test preparation, there are places to fill certain things. You see these lines, it's given for some purpose. So you have to fill certain things on those lines. So all those things you need to pay attention. Okay. And same way. So now you comes here and then you see these are the places you have to fill. Pass and fail, you have to attachment number, user ID, some places you have to fill those user ID. Then you have pass and fail, you have initial and date. Also in the last page, you see you have to do here, does all the acceptance criteria met? If not, then you have to put here notes, what happened, what was the discrepancy, what didn't happen, and then you have to sign and date. And then somebody like valid or reviewer gonna review it, and they're gonna sign it, reviewed by and date. So everybody have to sign and date for when you execute these things. This is how hard it is. It is tedious job, but good for us. It keeps us in business, it pays us well, so why not? It's a legal work, so we take care of that. We do tedious job and we get paid for it. So welcome to validation engineering. Now you see there will be signature log. So make sure first thing you do before you execute, you fill up the signature log, whether you are Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, or Hulk or Iron Man. Give your name, full name, your signature, your initial, and your date. Okay. And then what you need to do, these two lines, if it's not filled, you have to cross the line, NA, initial and date. Remember, don't leave blank space. Then you have to start putting your execution. If you all these things you see, you fill up here, you initial and date, this is your script. And then you initial, you date, always. When you are filling this, finish this then and there. Don't miss it. Okay. So I need to see those execution. For execute, follow instruction to execute, record observations, collect supportive evidence. Okay. That is your attachment. That is very important. Result acceptable, ensure evidence supports your observed result. So the evidence you are taking or attachment you are taking is supporting your observed result. Compare evidence with expected result. Compare your evidence with expected result, then only you do the attachment. Sometimes people take a screenshot a step ahead. Let it go all the way what is expected and then take that screenshot. Make sense?
I didn't got the screenshot part.
Okay, so a screenshot, you have to take the screenshots of the expected result. Not unless you reach out to the expected result, maybe you need one more steps to go in order to get the expected result. So take the screenshot of the final where exactly it matches your result with your expected result.
Okay.
Okay. Makes sense? Okay. Test execution, this is how you're going to do it. Pass and fail. You put your, if your username, password, full name, initial and date, every steps, no missing. Not even single step has to be missed. Pass and fail, and this is how you're going to do. If you have attachment, you're going to put attachment number here. I'm going to show you in a bit how you're going to create attachment number. Okay. So this is observed result. This is how you take a screenshot. Does everybody knows how to take a screenshot? Let me show you. So this is your screenshot template. I have uploaded it. So first thing, how you gonna put your screenshot number? So issue document number. What is your document number? IQ, OQ, PQ. What is your document number? Version. That is your first thing. Then which test step, test case and test step. Test case 1, test case 2. What is your test step 2, 3? And all these together, both together, it becomes your attachment number. Is that clear? And then for one step, you may have more than one test print screen. You're gonna put those, and then again, every screenshot, you're gonna have to put initial and date. Screenshot is simple. Just go and put print screen and come here, Control V, and you see it's here. That's your screenshot. Now you initial and date each and everything here. Is it clear? What will be the attachment number? Can somebody tell me?
It's gonna be the issue docu number plus the section and the test and section step together, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Is it clear to everyone? Your document number, every IQ, OQ, PQ you're gonna write. The document control department will give you a number for each and every document. That and version. That document number you're gonna go here and fill. Then you're gonna fill which test case and which test step you're taking a screenshot for. And both these together, it becomes your attachment number.
Dhruva sir, excuse me. This screenshot, can you repeat this, please? I distracted or what happened? I didn't know how to do it.
Oh, it's very simple. Okay, I put Control G here. All I do is go and press print screen in my computer and come here and Control V.
Okay.
Print a screen.
You have print screen, and then you have a sniffing tool. So you can also sniff it whatever you want to. So you see, it's always in my computer, sniff, go click new, and then I'm gonna just take this much. I don't need the other side. So I'll take this, and then I come back here and enter or here and Control V. I take a sniff, and now I have this one.
Okay.
So that's the snipping tool every computer will have. The company will give you, and you can also download it. So now I cut it wherever I want to. I can cut more. So say if I go, I say new, and I can cut it from no. So I want to cut it more, new. I want to cut it only this much. That much. Now I come back here. I can delete this. I can delete this, and I can put it here. That's my new screenshot. Understood?
Yeah, good.
And then you're gonna give the name of your screenshot. So your document number, right now you don't have document number. So you're gonna say, XYG, because document control will give you that number. And then your test case number and test step number. So if you have test case 2 in here, this is test case 1, TST1, step 2. So you're gonna say TST1, step 2. So this is what you're gonna write here, TST1, step 2. And both together, it become your attachment number. Understood?
Good.
Clear? Anybody have any doubt? Let me see whose picture looks good.
What was
Everybody
that?
looks.
You are saying Control D?
Control G, Control C, Control G. Learn those shortcuts.
Control C is copy.
Copy.
Yeah, Control G is reverse of what?
Reverse it. Yeah.
Reverse it.
And Control V is a paste.
I know. Yeah, but you are saying some Control D.
Maybe not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So learn those shortcuts. It's basic. You can see it in your Google too. All the shortcuts. It's easy. You know, it gives you so fast to do things. Make you faster. Any question here? So that's your screenshots, and that's how you take this whole thing. You know, you cut it and you paste it in your. You see, this is the document number. This is version. Now it's a step number. Test case 1, step 1, 2, 3. That becomes your attachment number, and you initial and date here. Everything. Sometimes you can highlight also your screenshots. You know, be creative, whatever you need to do. What happens when it fails? Expect to see 20 FTC strength result, which includes company XYZ lot number on a NWA chart. So, you know, if you are trying to see last 20 results, and if you cannot see 20 results, that means it failed. Am I right? So what you do when it fails, I mean, this is what the chart says, 20 FTC, and it doesn't show 20 FTC. Then you create a discrepancy. You fill up a discrepancy, which I'll teach you next week. When it fails, if result doesn't come as expected, you're going to say not as expected, and pass and fail, you're going to say no. You're still going to give the screenshot, you sign, and then you're going to refer to a discrepancy form. And I will teach you this discrepancy form next class, how these discrepancy things work. So if anything fail, what you need to do. Also, it calls bug. Also, it calls failure. If it fails, what you need to do next. That's what you're going to learn in next class. Okay. So, you know, 1 to 4 issue, get expected result. Everything has to match exactly, you know, when you are taking these screenshots. Then you come summarizing the test script result. This page you're going to have, and then you summarize these pages, and you know, yes and no, NA, and performed by, you give all the explanation, all the discrepancies, you put it here, and then you performed by, date, and then reviewed by date. This is how you're going to observe match, result match, expected result for all steps. Then you're going to say all acceptance criteria met. Yes, you're going to click on max. If there is a discrepancy, then you're going to say refer to discrepancy. Okay, then you're going to write refer to discrepancy. Discrepancy occurs and is resolved and match expected result. Then you're going to, and then you're going to initial and date. You're not going to write anything without initial and date. Remember those things. Then cannot resolve discrepancy to meet expected result. Then you have to also give explanation in your summary that, you know, this discrepancy could not closed, and the region, and then, you know, you have to give your initial and date, and then reviewer going to review it. Then did not perform test, example, regression testing, you have to give that explanation as well. That why didn't you perform regression testing in your discrepancy? So all those things you're going to understand when you understand discrepancy tomorrow, next week. So review consideration, you know, what we do, what we see when we see your document, executed document, pay attention. Ensure all steps have been completed, initialed, and dated. Every step. Ensure steps were followed as written. Ensure objective evidence was captured. Everywhere it says, take a screenshot, take a picture. It was done then and there, not later. Ensure that the objective evidence matches the test objective. Whatever it says, what is says in expected result, it matches to your objective evidence, which is your screenshot or picture, whatever you take. Ensure any test discrepancies are captured. Any discrepancy happen, any failure happen, you capture that one too. Take all the details, as much details as you can. Ensure GDP requirements are met, example, corrections, attachments, line outs, etc. All those GDP you have to follow. Ensure all testers have signed the signature log. Make sure. Ensure there are cross-reference between discrepancy and the test scripts. So, you have to sign, you have to write refer to discrepancy number, which I'll also explain you in next class. Ensure there are ensure the evidence and execution documentation is clearly tied to a test executor, proper chain of evidence. Everything has to be connected to the person, to the objective evidence. Everything has to be done in a proper way. Okay, so that's why you guys gonna execute each other's. Once you're ready with your IQ, OQ, PQ, you're gonna find your partner and your partner gonna execute your document. And I need to review that document, each and every document. I need to review it, that how you guys did execution, because it's a very, very important part of validation engineering. These are the things, if you don't know how to do it, you are not supposed to become a validation engineer. You're not going to graduate this class. You have to repeat the class. You're not going to fail, but you have to repeat the class. So right now, pay attention to your writing, authoring, and then you're going to pay attention to each and every execution steps. Okay. And the end, if everything pass, if you don't have anything to write, don't forget to NA. Okay, then you performed by, then reviewed by, everybody put their names and initials. If discrepancy occurred, again, you have to put the discrepancy reference, and discrepancy has to be closed. That's how it's gonna be. Executing a protocol, there's a typo in the test script, cannot execute the step. What can possibly go wrong? Think about it. Executing a protocol. There's a typo in the test script, cannot execute the step as it's written, forgot to check off the observed results, ambiguous expected results, expected result cannot contains an error, entry error, forgot to initial and date labels, blank space in columns, comment is needed, missing column headings. All these things can go wrong when you execute. So you have to pay attention to each and everything. And these things, you cannot just correct it like that. Once you miss it, it has another cycle of things. So remember, these things are legally binding documents. You cannot go and fix it just like that. There is a process to go and fix it back again. So you're putting yourself into more trouble. You understand? I see some of the chat. Oh, yeah. Okay, Samiksha has to leave. Okay. Where did she go? Okay, guys. And so if there is a typo like this, you can go and fix this typo, because why it is typo? Can somebody tell me? And why we can go and fix it? Think about it.
So right here it's saying for the reason why it's a typo is because it was supposed to be TP4 instead of 6, and then they initialed it and dated it. So you can do that. You just draw a line through it, but you have to initial and date it.
Yes. So once it's your approved document, then it was supposed to be TP4 because there is no TP6 here, only TP4. And this is only in step instruction. So in a step instruction, you can go and fix as a typo. But if it would be in expected result, then you could not go and fix. You have to create a discrepancy. But typo can be fixed, and they wrote it here, see typo and initial and date.
So in an expected result, we can't change it. It'll be a discrepancy.
It
if
has to be
was-
discrepancy in
Okay, got
expected
it.
result. Only in step instruction or in your acceptance criteria or TEP, you can fix it as a typo,
Okay.
not in expected result.
I have a quick question. Like on the instruction set here, the typo was amended on 8th December. And if there was already a mistake, how did it pass on 5th December?
Very good question. So first they have to report it.
Okay.
Okay. And then they considered, which you can understand in discrepancy form, then they considered that this is a typo. So you can go ahead and fix it as a typo. Even though it passed, it doesn't matter. They use it as a step 4, because it was in a step instruction. Make sense? Yeah, it was reported, and then it was told to go and fix the typo. So that's how it works. You cannot go and change things. So, this is how it is. And then this fixed, and then 8 December, it was fixed, even though it passed in 5th December. There is a TEP. And why? Because there was no TEP6. Okay, there was only TEP 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why it not as certain. So there was no, it was go and fixed. But if it would be part of expected result, then we have to create a discrepancy. Okay. Same thing here, some mistakes here. The script authoring error requires additional information and cross outs with initial and date. So, it needed some extra information. So it's crossed out. Then they added all these and they put here all the information, what it needs to be. So this is, again, it's a typo because it's in a step instruction. You cannot go and fix it because it's a version control. Once their document is approved, it's a version control. You cannot go and fix just like that. It's a process to do that. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Okay. Forgot to check off the observed result. He forgot this, So what it is late entry, and then 11th November he came and he checked it, and then he initial and date. And he have to say, forgot to check the observed result box, requires a return of the executed protocol to the tester for completion with causes a delay. So it has to go back to the tester again. It has to be explained, and then, it has to say late entry and then initial and date again.
Can I ask you something about this?
Go ahead.
Okay, if they forgot to check that, can the tester go ahead and do the other step or no?
They could, because they forgot, but when somebody is reviewing it, they say, hey, you didn't check this here, whether it passed or failed. So now he cannot just go and fix it. He had to do the late entry. Remember, data integrity. So you cannot go and put the back date. You cannot change in the back date. So if you're changing today, that means you have to give today's date. It is followed word by word. So you cannot go and fix it because I forgot. You forgot, you have to do it today, and you have to give today's date again.
Okay.
You cannot sneak from the back. If you do, and if you get caught, again, that's against of law. Okay, these things you have to pay attention. Same thing here, the status, sample status is restored, it says, and in print screen in system, it says complete. So now this is discrepancy because this is in an expected result. This is not only in a step instruction. So you cannot go and fix it here. You have to create a discrepancy, which I'll teach you next class how to create discrepancy. Okay. Same way here, it's SU2, SU1, but you can fix it, but you have to create a discrepancy to explain why it is this way, why it has to be SU-1, not SU-2. And so you have to refer discrepancy, and then you have to.
So you can fix the typo in that part, but you have to have the referred discrepancy.
Discrepancy, exactly.
Okay.
Through discrepancy form, you have to do it. In typo, you don't have to create discrepancy form, but in here, you have to create a discrepancy form.
Correct.
Okay. And I'll explain you more in discrepancy class next week. Okay. Here, you by mistake, you did this, you crossed out the whole thing, remember, and then you initial and date here, and this is fine. This is acceptable. Yeah. In this case, comment is not required when the reason for the change is self-evident. Okay. He did mistake by spelling. So, he crossed out, he put it here, and everything looks good. Here, forgot to initial and date labels. If you don't put labels here and here, then, it's an issue. So you have to put those initial and date in here. So want to ensure data integrity, account for all the labels. So label, you cannot put it as a picture. You have to initial and date, make sure that, it is only because tomorrow, if somebody come and change this, if it's not initial and date, how will you know? If it's initial and date, nobody can come and change this. What if your supervisor wants to do something wrong? They can come and change. So it requires initial and date here, initial and date here. Everything has to be proper. Make sense? Same way, this example, so comment added, refer to page 15A for signature. So, if somebody is signing in a different page, he's working remote, then it's fine, but, refer to page 15A. So you have to make new page and add his signature into another page. Blank space in column, you have to NA. You cannot leave it like this, empty. Somebody can come and fill it anything they want. So always NA the blank space. All these things I'm going to check in your execution copy. If it is NA not applicable, you have to NA, you have to initial date, everything. Okay. You can cross this way or that way, the whole thing. Okay. If it's a blank area needed to be lined out. Same thing if you need to add here, it was missing because it's just it's not the steps, but it's just a header that you can add it initial and date. It is okay, to do that. And rest you cannot go and change here without discrepancy, but this is okay without form. Now you're going to summary and approval page. You're going to fill all those things, a specific acceptance criteria detailed in the test script have been made. All test scripts are executed and reviewed. All required documentation is attached to the completed protocol. All discrepancies are appropriately resolved per section 7.4 discrepancy management. So that is your 7.4 in your script. So if you see in your 7.4, it is called discrepancy management, how to close the discrepancy if in case of discrepancy. So this is your 7.4. Each individual test reviewer, validation lead QA approver who participate in execution of this protocol or test script sign the signature log includes in section 13. So all these things you have to understand. We have to follow each and everything word by word. It is just written because it's a law. It's not written there just for fun. So you have to follow each and everything when you execute. Okay. So this reference might be in another section, but I'll fix those. You have to make it pass and yes and no acceptance criteria. There's same way acceptance. This summary approval. You have to write the whole thing, whole detail in a general protocol comment that all these things have been executed successfully. And then, there was one discrepancy which was closed. All these detail you have to write in a summary of that protocol. Same way, no discrepancy, then you write it this way. You have discrepancy, then you have to refer to discrepancy. Then you have, this is your line out signature log. If you have empty space, line out your signature log here. Now, takeaway, GDP allows for clear explanation of what occurred, need the results to be objective and unequivocal. The screenshot is traceable to the data, condition is in test step. The screenshot is legible, clearly shows the evidence. Be prepared before testing starts. Stop and contact the val lead if something doesn't look right. And this is where the discrepancy happens. So if something doesn't look right, you have to talk to your val lead always. Okay, and then what's gonna happen, we will talk in the next class. Any question? Did you guys understand how to execute the protocol? How to utilize data integrity and GDP when you execute it? Any confusion, any concern, any question, any doubt?
I mean, like until and unless we don't do it, we won't know, for now.
Right. That's right, no problem.
The same thing happened with the OQ and PQ when you said that, okay, like everything was kind of like,
Okay,
doable.
So no problem. So go ahead, finish your IQ, OQ, PQ, and then you're gonna execute it each other's document. So you're gonna find your partner and don't find your best friend, because I want them to find your mistakes in your protocol. If you find your best friend, they're gonna be nice to you, and it's not going to help you. So find your enemy to execute your document. Whosoever you think doesn't like you, tell him to execute your document. Make sense? So they can find mistake in your document when you execute. Okay, when they execute. And that's how, and I'm going to review each and every person's execution, because this is very important. I mean, if you can go into a job and you don't know how to execute a document, that kind of gonna put you down at work. So you don't want that. You want to keep your eye straight and your head up. And that's why I want you to understand how these executions happens. If you know this, you know validation engineering. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Dhruv sir, question. So we learned how to how to do good documentation practices, but when it comes to actually executing the protocols, how are we going to do it? So for example, I have an OQ where it's open the label printer, open the UI and then enter your user ID and click on how many pages to print. So how are we actually going to test it?
You're going to test it. We're going to talk about it. So finish your IQ, OQ, PQ, and then we'll get into OQ. There are some assumptions you have to take in this situation because it's not real-time execution, but most of it you can execute. Not a problem.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right. That's all for today. I hope you guys not taking it too serious.
That's the problem. I'm not taking it more seriously. You know, I should take it more seriously. Yeah,
Don't be serious, but keep doing, keep growing, keep making it happen, keep putting your effort and see where you get.
No, I'm telling you, I'm trying my best to put the things in perspective. What I have learned in other professions, like this thing you're telling me today, like documentation thing.
Yes.
I was linking all this thing with the proofreading.
Yes.
Being a journalist, how
Yes.
important it is to be a proofreader and look your things with the other's perspective while when you are writing something.
That's right.
So that is what exactly I was trying to.
Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have one question, but a little bit, off the off the topic what we're studying. What about cleaning validation? Who gonna be responsible for the cleaning validation? That is also part of the. We might have to do that, or for that, some different person will be hired. So, what is cleaning? How far we can go in the cleaning part?
That's a beginning question, not current question. So there is so many validation here. Validation, when you go in pharma, biotech, med device, there are so many validation. Right now, what you are studying is computer system validation, CSV, not the cleaning validation, not the process validation, not the equipment validation, not the test method validation, not the infrastructure validation. There are so many validation. And there will be people for different validation. The first basic thing is you need to understand CSV, computer system validation. And then if you want to advance your career, you can learn some more process validation, test method validation, which adds your value. But that comes later. That comes later. First, focus on CSV, computer system validation.
Thank you. I was just kind of confused. This is very new domain in my in my career. That's why validation engineer, CSV engineer, some kind of confusion. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for
No, it does. It happens. So right now you are becoming computer system validation engineer. You are CSV engineer, not cleaning validation engineer, not process validation engineer. There is so many validation in this world and so much to grow. That's why there is so much to grow in this validation world.
So for the equipment part, like equipment or medical devices, those part, engineer will be taking care of that. The cleaning engineer, cleaning validation.
There will be different people. They will take care of
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording and